Hello Internet, my name is Andrew Eder and welcome to another episode of Film Editorials. It is also day 15 of Vlog Every Day in April 2014. One of my viewers, just like you, requested that I talk about James Bond. So today I'm going to be talking about the different actors who have played James Bond over the years and ranking them from best to worst in my own opinion. A couple of notes before I get started. I'm going to be talking about just the movies done by Eon Productions. That does not include the 1967 Casino Royale, which was like a spoof of the James Bond series, and it also does not include Never Say Never Again, which starred Sean Connery, but it is not officially a James Bond movie according to all the official James Bond licenses. Like, yes, it's a James Bond movie because it's got James Bond in it, and it is an adaptation of the book Thunderball, but it is separate. Also, while I have seen all of the Eon Production James Bond films, it has been quite a long time since I've seen some of them, so my opinions on those movies are not terribly strong just because I don't remember them. Additionally, I have read all of the Ian Fleming James Bond novels and short stories, and so that colors my opinions of some of the looser adaptations that Eon has made. The first actor on our list is Sean Connery, and in my opinion, he doesn't play James Bond. He is James Bond. He is funny, he is suave, he can do the action scenes, he is just the best James Bond. Just hands down. You read the books, you see Sean Connery in these roles, even in movies where you know he wasn't in it, you can just imagine him being there. Not all the movies he starred in were great. I mean, some of them are really annoying at parts. I'm thinking of Diamonds Are Forever, which has a pretty good overall arc, but just some of the characters and lines, oh man, they're just really bad. But that's true of most of the James Bond movies. After Sean Connery did a few James Bond movies, then George Lazenby took up the mantle of James Bond, and he was only in it for one movie, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I don't remember that movie very well, but I remember not hating his interpretation of the character. That's not exactly a rousing endorsement, but it is better than some people's reactions who remember it differently or better than I do. My parents, for instance, do not like Lazenby's Bond. Like, at all. Lazenby's interpretation was so unpopular, in fact, that they brought Sean Connery back to do another movie. The next actor they got to play James Bond was Roger Moore, and in my opinion, he is the worst James Bond. He has starred in the most James Bond films, but they are all terrible. They are painful to watch, the jokes are awful, the action's not very good. I cannot stand Roger Moore's Bond. He is just pompous, and he thinks he's clever, and his one-liners are awful. I do not like it one single bit. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of movies he's in are based off of, like, some of the best Bond books. I really enjoyed the book Moonraker, but the movie is just god-awful, oh my lord. The next Bond was Timothy Dalton, and I kinda liked him as Bond. He had a very different take on the character than Roger Moore did. Instead of being, funny and sarcastic, he was very straightforward and determined and violent in a way. Again, those movies weren't terribly good. I think they were kind of running out of material to work on. I do like Dalton as an actor though. He's appeared in a few things fairly recently, like one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who and in Toy Story 3, and I really liked him in both of those. So I don't dislike Dalton. He just didn't seem to have good stories for Bond. Next up is Pierce Brosnan, and this is the Bond that I grew up with. When I first watched Bond movies, I saw GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies. Those were the first two I ever saw, and I liked them a lot, so I have fond memories of Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. He's the kind of person who can do the suave and the cool, but can also do the butt-kicking, which is, it's important for that character. And while GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies were pretty good, his next two movies were kinda awful. Last on our chronological list, and the current James Bond, is Daniel Craig, and he is another amazing Bond. I think he has the best interpretation of James Bond since Sean Connery. Skyfall is one of my favorite movies ever, as is Casino Royale. Both of them are fantastic. Quantum of Solace really wasn't very good, to be honest. So my list of James Bond actors from best to worst would be, at the very top, Sean Connery, followed closely by Daniel Craig, then Pierce Brosnan, then Timothy Dalton, then a little bit later George Lazenby, and then way at the bottom, Roger Moore. Now there's never been an in-universe explanation as to why they have to get different actors to play James Bond. The reason in real life is because actors get too old and don't want to do it and all sorts of business contract things, but in universe, there's no explanation. There is, however, a fan theory, which I subscribe to and actually quite enjoy, and it is very similar to the explanation behind why they have to get different actors for Doctor Who. That's because James Bond, like the Doctor from Doctor Who, is an alien who has to regenerate and keeps his same basic personality, but different little aspects of it change, and I just think that's a really cool way to tie everyone together. That's all for today's video. If you disagree with me about my ranking, let me know down below in the comments. And the topic for this video was a suggestion, so if you have a suggestion for things you'd like me to talk about, leave that down below in the comments too, and I will see you guys next time, which, if you're following me for Veda, will be tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.